Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about having compassion for yourself. There are too many times in this world where we feel like we failed in certain areas and we hold grudges against our own self, if that makes sense. It's like we feel guilty, remorse, and we have regrets over things that we didn't do the right way in the past, or if we're trying to do new things and we feel like we're failing, we're hard on ourselves, and it's hard to forgive ourselves and be compassionate. And the thing that's really interesting about that is that I know that a lot of you who listen to my podcast are people pleasers, just like I was. So you are very, I think, quick to forgive others. But what's interesting is you're not so quick to forgive yourself. But the universe is saying that it's time for you to forgive yourself for whatever has happened in the past that maybe you felt responsible for, that you feel like you could have done better. And the universe is saying that it's time for you to show as much compassion for yourself as you do for everyone else in your life. The thing is, most of us go through life and we approach problems in our lives, or not even necessarily problems, but just situations in our lives, we approach from our own experience, which means that the way that we respond or react to certain situations in our life depends on what our experiences were growing up. So your experience would be different than someone who had a different experience growing up. Yet sometimes we expect to compare ourselves to someone else, and we think, why didn't I handle it like that person would have? But the problem with that is that you didn't have the same conditions put on you as that other person did. You didn't grow up in the same household. And a lot of the ways that we approach our problems, or just in general, how we deal with things in our lives, has a lot to do with the way we were raised and the way we were conditioned. It's why when many of you reach out and you text me or you email me, you tell me that you used to be very negative. And what often follows that is, my mom or my dad was a very negative person and I was just conditioned to be the same way. And I totally get that. I totally understand that because it was the same for me. I was conditioned to be impatient with certain things and to be negative about certain things because that's what I grew up with. And it was only when I started learning that that wasn't the only way to respond to things in my life, that there were other ways, there were better ways. It's like that saying, when you know better, you do better. Well, until I learned that there was another way to approach situations or problems in my life, until I learned that, I could only respond from my own perception. Meaning that I could only respond through the experience that I already had. And my experience with difficult situations was to overreact, to get upset, to be negative. And I could, if I wanted to, think back to all of the times that I overreacted, or that I didn't react to something in the way that I should have, or in the way that I would have wanted to. And I could look back at all of that and I could be very upset with myself. But that isn't going to do me any good. Going back and thinking about all of the ways that I failed in life before I became the person that I am now isn't going to do anything good for me. All it's going to do is fill me with regret and guilt and shame. And I'm going to be a very unhappy person. And that's going to affect my life currently, because if I'm an unhappy person, because I'm stuck in the past, I'm not going to be able to have the life that I want to have. I'm not going to be able to manifest the things that I want to manifest because my energy level and vibration is going to be so low. When you are in a state of feeling regret and remorse, it is emotionally draining. It's draining on you. And when you're emotionally drained, oftentimes we're physically drained as well, because it feels like one tends to have an effect on the other. Like if you're not feeling well emotionally, you're not going to be feeling well physically. And having all of these emotional burdens usually tends to make you physically sick. So it's important that you aren't going back to the past and constantly trying to relive it. What I know is there have been a lot of things that I have approached in my life that later, I could have thought, I didn't handle that the way I wanted to. But at that point, it's too late. I can't go back and change it. I can't travel back in time and say, yes, I want to change things. I just can't do it. I have to live my life knowing that I did what I thought was right at the time. And, I'm the type of person that if I do have an opportunity to make amends for something, like if I was at fault, I will do that. But that's my own personal belief, is that I want to try to make amends for things that I need to make amends for. It doesn't mean that I dwell on it. And I could go to somebody and say, hey, I want to apologize. And they might say, I don't accept your apology. And that can happen too. And you know what? I'm aware that can happen. And I have to be okay with whatever the outcome is and know that I'm trying to make my own life better. So I'm doing those things to heal myself and to let go of the negative emotions that I'm holding on to. And if the other person doesn't choose to accept that, that's okay. That's not why I'm doing it. It's really like to heal myself. And of course, yes, I do want to make the other person feel better if there's something that I did wrong. But if they don't accept the apology, and that's always a possibility, then it's okay. And I'll be okay with that. But I was talking to my son the other day, and I put a quote on Facebook today, and it was something about you should always do what's right and take responsibility for your own actions. And I couldn't agree with this more. And we were talking about this the other day. And I said to him, it's really important that you are being an honorable person. That if you make a mistake, you have to admit to it. You have to own up to it. Because people will respect you far more if you do that than if you constantly try to blame others. And it was an important conversation because I think so many times people will try to deflect, or they'll try to say, well, that wasn't my fault. Well, and they make all kinds of excuses. Well, this happened. Well, then this happened. And the truth is, you're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. Everyone does. But I know when I've worked with people as a boss, I appreciated and respected people far more if they came to me and said, look, I messed up, I did this, and not say, well, it wasn't my fault because this happened, and made every excuse in the book. And as someone who, has worked as many years as I have, I'm the same way. If I mess up, I'm going to say, look, I messed up. I didn't know what I was doing, and I made a mistake. And I think that's so important, to be honorable and to own up to the fact that you made a mistake. You're going to make mistakes. There's not a perfect person out there. So stop being afraid of making mistakes and looking bad and whatever. That's not important. What's important is that you try. And when you make mistakes, be gentle with yourself. Go easy on yourself. I think most people respect those who try and fail, and who say, look, I made a mistake. I know as a teacher in my classroom, I have a lot more respect for students who try and then make mistakes, because we can fix those mistakes. But if you don't even try because you're afraid you're going to make them, then it's kind of hard to help you. Or if you insist on blaming everyone else, like I will have a student sometimes and he'll say, well, German's just too hard. And I'll say, no, it's not that it's just too hard. We can do this. You just have to try a different way. But to just automatically say, well, it's this person's fault or it's this fault and give up, like that's not the way to go either. But as I was telling him, you will get much more respect if you just own up to your mistakes. And the universe, I think, feels the same way, as saying, look, you made a mistake. You owned up to it. Now let it go. But for so many of us, we can't do that last part, the letting go. Like, we know we made a mistake. We know we could have done something better, but then we don't let it go. And here's the deal. Making mistakes is a human thing, and we're all going to do it. And the reason we do it is to learn, right? Remember that fail means a first attempt in learning. We just have to adjust what we do. We have to adjust how we handle something. But for many of us, and we especially do this in relationships, we can't let go of mistakes from the past. And I have to think about my own life. I had someone that I used to date reach out to me not too long ago. And it was great to hear from him. But he said, I can't help but think about the night we broke up. And he's like, I've been thinking about it all these years. And I felt so bad, because it was over 20 years ago. And this person is still playing that out in his mind of, I should have done something differently, but I knew this is what I was supposed to do, but because of what I did, your whole life was ruined, just that scenario. And I don't even think about it anymore. I really don't, because I'm of the understanding, I know that everything happens for a reason. I know that I had to go through certain things in order to be where I am today, because I'm a firm believer that there is no way that I could help all of the people that I help if I hadn't been where they are and know what they're going through. In fact, I just had someone contact me today and say, this particular podcast you did, the one on dealing with a narcissist, it described me exactly in my situation. And I knew that because I knew I was supposed to do that podcast, because I know that there are so many people who are in similar situations as I was. Dealing with a narcissist, having 2 young kids, having to leave that marriage. And it wasn't easy, but it was the best thing I ever did. The only thing that would have been better is if I had been able to not allow the kids to be around him as much as they were. But again, I can't beat myself up over that because I didn't know. I did not know. And for this person to come to me and say, I've been tormented by this, or maybe not tormented, but I've been dwelling on this and thinking about it for over 20 years now. And I hate that this person has been miserable thinking about that, because yes, I was upset when it happened and probably for a few months afterwards. But then after that, my life took a different turn and I forgot about it. And we've always kept in touch and always been on speaking terms. And he's come back and visited me before, so it's not like I was devastated for the rest of my life. But to know that somebody felt that way for all those years, I mean, I don't like that. Like, I don't want anyone else to suffer. But it just is proof to me that as humans, we have a hard time letting things go and a hard time forgiving ourselves. And you can go back and you can replay whatever the thing is that keeps you up at night over and over again in your mind. Well, what's that doing for you? You can't change it. And if you need to go back and tell someone I'm sorry, by all means do it. You will feel better. And a lot of people hold themselves back because they're like, oh, I'm afraid of what someone will say. Okay, so worst case scenario, they may say, well, I don't accept your apology, and then you move on, like you tried. But honestly, do you really think that's going to happen? What I've found in my life is if you're honestly sincere about something and you go to someone and you say, look, I'm sorry. Every time I have done that, people have accepted my apology. And I felt better. And like I said, you can always say a prayer to your spiritual team if you need help, either getting the courage to go and apologize or having the words, knowing what to say. But more than likely, people will be so happy to have an apology because most of us will go through our lives and we will never get an apology from someone for something that they did. We just have to forgive people even though they haven't asked for it. So if someone comes back to you and says, I'm sorry, you're most likely going to be shocked, number one, and number two, happy that you got it. It'll make you feel a little better. It's like a little bit of closure, you know? So don't be afraid of that. But also, the one person you need to forgive the most is yourself. So if you are replaying things in your mind, you need to stop. You're torturing yourself. And through the teachings of Abraham Hicks, what has come up over and over again is if I have a negative thought that pops into my head, I need to immediately replace it with something positive. Because remember, when you are stuck in that negative thought zone and you just keep having those negative thoughts, you're calling more and more negative thoughts in. And you're also calling into being things you don't want to see because you're giving it your attention. You've got to stop giving it your attention. You've got to heal and then look for the positive things you want to see happening in your life. I know for me, I can get very easily stuck on a negative thought. You know, I can think about something that happened in my past and be like, well, what if I had done this differently? Well, what if I had said this? Well, what if? And it's a vicious cycle because then I find myself thinking about other negative things and it just kind of, as I like to say, you go down this rabbit hole where now it's like, okay, now I'm thinking so negatively and I'm making myself miserable and I'm setting this miserable tone for the day. And now if I want to get myself out of it, it's like being in a swimming pool with a whirlpool going around, and now I have to try to turn it the other way, and it's really difficult. So it's so important for you to realize and recognize when you're having these negative thoughts to stop it. Remember, rewind, delete, and reframe that thought. Sitting there and going, oh my gosh, what if, or oh, this is going to happen. That isn't helpful for you. It's not. And honestly, you're playing a victim when you do that. And I'm sorry, but playing the victim is so overrated. It's not going to help you. And quite frankly, when you sit there and play the victim, people don't feel sorry for you. They tend to be annoyed. Like, oh, look, here comes Sheila again. Oh my gosh, here she is playing the victim. They're not like, oh, poor Sheila. It's not, oh, poor Sheila in a way like, oh, let's all have sympathy for her. It's, it's like sarcastic, right? Like, oh, here's Sheila, here she is again. And I'm sorry to anyone out there named Sheila. I was trying to think of a name that I hadn't seen pop up on my podcast list. But you know what I'm trying to say? Stop playing the victim. Just stop it. I know that whenever I have certain friends who do that, they'll just be like, oh my gosh, woe is me, blah, and they're just going on and on. I've lost interest about halfway through their conversation. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just like, why would I want to sit there and listen to you gripe and complain and moan about all of your problems? I mean, yes, as friends, we should help each other, and we do want to listen to problems, but if you're the person who constantly has a problem for every solution, no one wants to be around that. It's not fun. You're being a Debbie Downer, and you need to stop. So same thing, if you're constantly picking on yourself and saying, oh my gosh, I should have done this better, and you're playing the victim and the woe is me card, you're being a total drag. And that's not helping you. It's not helping you. It is keeping you stuck in this same pattern of behavior. And you probably already know that that hasn't gotten you anywhere so far. So it's time to stop. It's time to stop the behavior. The universe is saying to you, quit blaming yourself. Quit trying to think of all the things you could have done differently or that you should have done better. Just stop. It's time for you instead to forgive yourself, to let it go, and instead to focus on all the awesome and amazing things that are happening and that are coming into your life. Because if you're focused on the right thing, you should be seeing amazing things. And that's not to say that nothing bad is ever going to happen to you. No one can promise you that. Things happen to us because we have to learn. But we call in a whole lot of stuff we wouldn't have to deal with if we would just learn our lessons, to learn to stop beating up on ourselves, learn to forgive ourselves, learn to let all of that crap go from the past. It's like you're carrying around this 80-pound piece of luggage with you everywhere you go, and it's all the crap from the past that you haven't let go. That stuff's heavy, and it's hard to do anything fun when you're sitting there lugging a big, heavy suitcase around with you. And chances are you're taking this suitcase with you from relationship to relationship and wondering why things don't work out. It's because you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're expecting different results. It starts with you. It has to start with you. You cannot be the best version of you possible if you have this self-loathing going on. You can't. And the universe is saying, stop it. You're forgetting who you are. You are a child of the divine. You are deeply loved, and you are deeply and divinely supported and guided. You have a whole team around you. So for you to wallow and act like you're all alone and no one's helping you and you're this victim is just BS. Because you have everything you need right now to be successful. And the only thing standing in your way is you. The only thing standing in your way is you. So you've got to stop. You've got to. And if you need help forgiving yourself, I've talked about this many times, but I absolutely love the Radical Forgiveness website. You can go there and download some free worksheets that you can go through that will help you learn how to forgive yourself. You can do EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, the tappings. Just go to YouTube, search for Forgiving Myself Tapping, and you'll probably see Brad Yates and maybe Nick Ortner. They have some amazing tappings that you can do that don't take very long at all. You can even do them in the car as you're driving. You can do a meditation. There's so many things out there to help you. But the universe is saying, it's time. It's time to let all that garbage go. Be gentle with yourself, forgive yourself, and love yourself because you are worth it. You're worth it. All right, I wanted to pull a card for you guys today, and the card I pulled is from the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck. It's Kuan Yin, and it's compassion. Release judgments about yourself and others and focus on the love and light that is within everyone. I love that. So yeah, we tend to have a lot of judgments about ourselves and other people, and this is saying it's time to stop that. Focus on love and light, the love and light within yourself. There's so much good in you. No matter what has happened to you, there is so much good in you. Focus on that. And focus on the love and light in everyone else as well. All right, guys. Well, if you like this podcast, please share it with others. Please subscribe. That helps others find me. And if you wouldn't mind leaving me a review, if you're listening on iTunes, you can leave me some stars, or you can write a review. That would be amazing. I really appreciate that. You can leave a review from wherever you're listening. If you want to share my podcast on your social media, I super appreciate that. If you'd like to work with me, you can schedule a Reiki session, a coaching session. If you need help forgiving yourself and learning how to love yourself, book a coaching session with me, because we can work on that. We can also do past life regression. Or you can just do a reading with me. It's totally up to you. I offer so many services as well as online courses. My course, it used to be called A Purposeful Pilgrimage, is now being called Love Your Life. And it is just daily lessons to help you do exactly that. Learn how to love your life and to live your best life. So check that out. All of the information for all of my courses and how you can work with me is online on my website at melissaoatman.com. You can reach out to me. A lot of people will reach out to me and say, I want to work with you, but I don't really know what I need. So go ahead and reach out to me. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, you can message me on Facebook or Instagram, you can message me on my website. There's so many ways to get a hold of me, and every way that you can get a hold of me is perfectly fine. I do not mind whatever you choose to do. People reach out to me all the time, so do not hesitate. I will get back to you right away. And we can go over what I offer and what would be best for you. Also, you can sign up for my upcoming Reiki course if you're interested in that. If you've ever thought that you might be a healer, you might be interested in that. Don't forget to subscribe to my website, where you will receive a free morning and evening meditation just for signing up. And I do not do anything with your email. Every once in a while, I will send you maybe an update of what services I offer, but not very often. So sign up and receive your free morning and evening meditation just as a thank you from me. All of my information is in the description to this podcast, so you can find out how you can follow me on social media, or you can get a hold of me to work with me. As always, don't forget to come to my Facebook Live Mondays, 5:30 Central, on my Reiki with Melissa page. I do a free card reading there, and it's always a lot of fun. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.